Hello, this is the TradeSite U.S. Stocks and Futures Market Preview for the week beginning Monday, the 7th of March, 2016, ending on Friday, the 11th. Hope you had a good trading week. Here's a look at the ES front month futures contract. This is the daily chart of the S&P 500 futures. This is the proper way to evaluate the market as a whole. We are dead in the middle of the range since last June at this point in time. We are 8 bars up towards a startup phase, which means the next session, if it just closes around here, would give us a completed setup phase or startup phase, which might be the top short term at least. Other than that, there's not much to say based on this chart. Let's take a look at what we did on Friday. Crude oil closing up $1.66 to $36.22, highest close of 2016 now, but still well under almost all of last year. Gold up $2.20. Got to recycle on this, so we never got to the 13 sell signal either on that one. So S&P cash on Friday gained $6, 6.59 points. It was a fairly tame session. NDX was up 3. SOX was up 6.7. Biotechs were down 9, which also that's all very flat for the biotechs. VIX was up 16 cents to 1686. By the way, if you look at the VIX there, it's sitting right on that red static trend line, having a hard time breaking underneath it. The trend closed at 0.68, and I mentioned this. There's 3 big numbers coming off the 10-day moving average from 8, 9, what were 8, 9, and 10 days ago. And if I look here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so there's 2 numbers you see that were almost up near 2. Those are the 2 numbers that still need to drop off, I believe, when that one, or maybe one of them just did. So that's why the moving average came down. So 2 days from now, that other one's going to drop off, and that could really quickly bring this moving average down. Remember, when the 10-day moving average on the trend gets under 0.85, that's when you look for the market to roll. You time that out with that seeker startup phase, and a lot of reasons to be looking for a roll here. NASDAQ volume, strangely, the strongest of the week on Friday at 2 billion shares. I thought that was very strange. Advanced decliners. Advancers beat decliners by 608 on the NASDAQ, by 918 on the New York. Google was down $1.37, which is a blip for Google. Apple holding above 100, up $1.51. Amazon down 235. It was a mixed bag on Friday. Nothing consistent going on in the markets. Netflix up 3.65. So things were pretty contained, but again, I wouldn't say it was a very active day Friday, despite the fact that the volume was magically back up. All right, let's take a look, as we always do, at the total week. This is 10-minute bars on the ES. So Monday we had a flat opening. We tried to move up, and we ended up selling off. Tuesday we gapped up and kept going. A gap and go session. Widest range of the week was on Tuesday. Wednesday opened with a very small gap down that filled and just back and forth all day in a flat range until we finally pushed up a little bit. Thursday, same thing, gapped down a little, filled it quickly, back and forth, and then over lunch drifted higher. And then Friday, a gap up that sold off quickly, gave us some nice futures plays, and then rallied over lunch, only to come back and close right at the VWAP for the session. Still, that's almost 80 points of range on the S&P for the week, which is not bad, but volume was really poor, so that's less exciting. Here's the strange thing: while the ES is on the rise, here's the Nasdaq side. So you had the flat opening and the kind of closed lower on Monday. Tuesday gapped up and kept going. That's your big day. Wednesday stayed completely flat, and Thursday and even Friday, really, we were in that same, basically in a 40-point range on the NQs for 3 days. That's not exciting. So it's kind of a weird look at the markets for this week. All right. So what do we have for the week ahead? Let's take a look at the data. There's not much, but there is something very important going on here that will affect futures players and stock traders. Monday is March 7th, the consumer credit number at 3 in the afternoon, not a big deal. Tuesday, no numbers released. Wednesday, MBA mortgage index at 7 a.m., wholesale inventories 30 minutes into the market, and crude oil inventories an hour into the market. Thursday, we've got the weekly continuing and initial jobless claims numbers, and then the weekly natty gas number an hour into the market. Treasury budget at 2 p.m. And Friday, just import-export prices. Nothing there. Be aware the way this is going to play out. Monday, obviously, could be a little slower, as Mondays sometimes are. Tuesday, Wednesday, I think, are going to be the better trading days of the week, because Thursday is when we begin the 2-day process of rolling from the March to the June futures contracts. And so basically all of the money sucks out of the June contract, stops trading on Thursday, starts trading the new one, and then you need a full trading day with everybody trading the new one on Friday before the big players come in. Got to let the technicals set up a bit on the new contract with all the new pricing, slightly different pricing. for the contract because it has longer till expiration. So what that generally does is makes futures very erratic and slow, and it also has an impact on stocks, obviously, when futures aren't doing much. So you got to be aware of that. This is quarterly contract roll week, and the following week is triple expiration. So that means Thursday, Friday this week probably won't be too interesting, but we'll see what happens. Obviously, we'll be here anyways. Next weekend is also the time change here in the U.S. We lose an hour. We give our hour back, unfortunately. My least favorite weekend of the year. So we'll have to see. That doesn't really have an impact. But Thursday and Friday, remember that. Charts, as usual, brought to you by eSignal 12. We have posted all of our results for the month of February on our blog this week. You can take a look at that. If you've not taken a trial of our services, feel free to do so. If you do find these videos useful, please like them on YouTube. It does help us out. Have a great trading week.